Hello, this is Paul Vale with Homesteading Ways, and today we are going to build in a small animal cage. Now, if any of you know me, I have built lots of rabbit cages and quail cages. This cage today just happens to be for my son's pet rats, which is basically the same. Just the size is a little different, but we're going to be using 1x1/2 wire for the bottom, just like we do quail cages and rabbit cages, and I'm going to be using 1x1 wire for the sides and the top. Now, if I was building a rabbit cage or a quail cage, because it's cheaper, I would use 1x2 wire, but 1x2 is just going to be too big for rats. So we're just going to use the 1x1 that we have. The reason I chose the size of 17x21 is because that is the extra waste pan that I have. So that just happened to be one of the waste pans extra I have, so that's what we're going to use to build this rat cage. But basically it's going to be the same, no matter what size cage that you're going to build, it's all going to turn out to be the same. So we're going to get started. It's going to be 20 inches tall, so on 3 sides I made it 22 inches tall and 20 inches on the one large side, and you'll see when we're all done why I did that. So to start off with, we have the top, and I have one side. And then I'm just going to lay the one side on top of the top so I can ring these together. And what I use is my ringers. They work really good, and rings. So on the rings, put it together. That's what's. So we're just going to ring the top to one of the sides. I go every other one. You guys don't have to, but like I said, this is for a rat. Every third one would probably be good for a quail or a rabbit cage, but I don't want. Rats are amazing. They can get through the smallest of holes. So I'm just going to go every other one. And do the other side by placing that on the top, still top, side. This is another side. Top, the 2 sides. Now we're going to put the back on. So here's where the back will go. I'm going to turn it this way, it just makes it easier to clasp with the ringers. So now we're going to put the back with the sides. Like I said, these 3 sides are 2 inches taller than the front side, and you'll see the reason or the method behind my madness once we get there. Alright, so now we're going to put the front on. And the front, remember I said, is going to be 2 inches shorter than the other sides, and the reason for that, you're going to see that once I get this together, that's going to allow for the waste tray, once the bottom is put on, to slide up underneath the cage and still allow the animals not to get out. And once we get done with to that part, you'll be able to see how that's going to work. On this one I can't fold it in just because it's bigger than the side is bigger than the top. So it's just a little bit tougher this way, but on this last side, this is the only way it's going to work. Okay, so now that we got the 4 sides up, we're going to put the bottom on. Now we have one short side, which is the front, so that's where we're going to first start attaching it to, because it's going to be 2 inches lower than the other 3 sides. So we'll bring that together. Put the front side on. Now we're going to drop the other sides down. Of course, 2 inches lower. Now this cage, the cost to build this cage would be, this happened to be leftover wire that I had from making quail and rabbit cages. Approximate cost, $20 to $30 in materials. So that should help you out, because if you had to go buy this cage to be built by somebody else, of course it would be a lot more expensive than that. Probably $80 to $100 I would think, especially with the waste tray. So it definitely pays, I think, to build them yourself. Get the tools and equipment to do them yourself, and you'll be money ahead. Now we're just going to finish putting this all together, and then we're going to come back on this film and show you how we're going to put the door. Okay, so we have our cage built, and now this allows for the waste pan to slide underneath of it for easy cleaning. Now that we got that part done, we need to make a hole or an entrance to get in and out of the cage. And how we're going to do that is by using my wire cutters. And if I want to make a hole 6 by 9, I made the hole opening 7 by 11 to have an inch overlap, and then I'm going to start cutting that right in the middle of the cage. So be careful when you're cutting with this so that you don't overcut. So I'm going to make it 6 by 8, the hole. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to stop there. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the 8th hole. Coming over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. And then we're just going to go right back up again. There we have a hole in our cage. And then of course, the top then, I will ring that onto there, and I'll show you guys how I do that. We're wrapping an inch every way. I will ring the top to an inch above the hole in the cage. Now on this, I'm going to ring it on every square. So there's going to be 8 rings in this one, because I want it to be nice and tight. No chance for them to escape whatsoever. We have it all ringed together. It's nice and tight, and I just happen to have a leftover clasp. So you can use a clasp, you can use a spring, you can use whatever you want. And this is just what will lock the cage, keeping the animals in. If you want to get back into the cage, just unclasp it. That'll let the animals in. Do whatever you need to do in there. Now we're going to set this up for the rats, so we're going to put a feeder in here. For the rats, we'll put a metal feeder in here, because rats like to chew anything plastic. And then we're going to do a plastic water bottle on the outside with metal wrapped around it so they can't chew the plastic. And rats just like to have hammocks, so we're going to use some old towels and build some hammocks in here. And you can set up your cage on the inside any way you want to. Like I said, this is to show you how to build a small animal cage, and you can use any size that you want to. And I hope this helps you out. Thank you.